All right, young scholars, this is Mr. Barteron with the conclusion video to your help on the DBQ, because in this video we're going to talk about how to write a conclusion. So by this point in the night, it's probably about 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. because you probably waited all night to write this paper, and you're just going to watch this video, and you've come to the end. And you want to maximize your points because you want to end on a good note. So just to recap, you have put the header on your paper, you have proper MLA format, you've got your title, Times New Roman is the font, 12 is the font size, you've written an amazing opening, you've written a killer body paragraph, and a killer paper itself. Now it's time to land the sucker. So a good conclusion. Guys, good conclusion is going to restate the thesis. It's going to kind of overview or recap the main ideas that you went over in your paper, and then end. Don't try to offer new arguments in your conclusion. Don't try to do too much. So here we go. In conclusion, and I'm just going to edit this on the fly. So I know a lot of teachers will probably roll their eyes or even yell at you and say, don't start a paper within a conclusion. But remember, a DBQ is kind of straightforward. A DBQ is kind of boring. So in conclusion, this lets the audience know that the paper is coming down to an end. You're wrapping it up. You're offering your final words, your final analysis. For those of you guys that may struggle with how to transition into your conclusion, this phrase is an easy way to do that. So the first thing you need to do is restate the thesis. In conclusion, the values of the Renaissance changed man's view of the world in at least three ways. There was an emphasis added on individualism, people embraced life in the present, and there was an emphasis on reason over religion. Okay? Notice how that's not the identical thesis that we had up at the beginning of the paper, but it's similar. I think we said in the introductory video, reason triumphed over religion. The thesis, it doesn't have to be word for word if you want to try and paraphrase or move it around, but again, you want to keep things simple. Don't stress too much over this. All right. As people became more educated, they broke away from the ideas of the Middle Ages that were deeply rooted in religious beliefs in order to focus on themselves and life in the present. Okay. Why is the sentence good? Because it kind of explains, again, recaps what the Middle Ages was or were. It talks about how religion dominated, and then shifts during the Renaissance to life in the present, which is something that you argued in your paper. During the height of the Middle Ages, most people accepted traditional church doctrines, but by the end of the Renaissance, in the 1600s, man's viewed the world differently. All right, again, nice idea. So in the first sentence, we compared the Middle Ages to changing attitudes of life in the present. The second sentence talks about how the church changed because people moved from less religious to more individual. Not bad. Between 1300 and 1600, they forgot an E, new ideas and inventions caused Europeans to think and live differently. Okay, so new inventions. Okay, probably a callback to the last paragraph where you're going to talk about where you're going to write about science. Talented individuals created great works of art and literature. Okay, this is a callback to your second and third paragraph. Scientific experiments expanded knowledge about the human body and the natural world. Okay, again, this is a great sentence because it calls attention to the third paragraph of your essay, which was about the scientific revolution and how man's view of the universe and the human body changed. Man no longer saw the church as the center of the universe, which led to a change in Western philosophy, a change that still exists in the world today. Boom. Okay? A lot of you guys are going to sit here and say, well, is this it? Is that all I have to do? Realistically, yes. A good ending is going to restate the thesis, recap your main ideas, which this person did. You don't want to offer new evidence. You don't want to get specifically, you don't want to reference, Leonardo da Vinci or Shakespeare. Notice how in this sentence, talented individuals created works of art and literature. Okay, that is calling attention to the first and second paragraph where you talk about Da Vinci and you talk about Shakespeare without actually mentioning them by name. Scientific experiments, in the next sentence, scientific experiments expanded knowledge about the human body, which is documents C and D. Okay, mankind no longer saw the church as the center of the universe. We're seeing that in documents A and B, which led to a change in Western philosophy, a change that still exists in the world today. Okay. Now, this last part, a change that still exists in the world today. Um, if you want to try and flush that out and draw another connection to the world today, you can. But we already made this connection in your paper when you talked about how Shakespeare's plays are still performed, and proper anatomy is done today, and astrology versus astronomy. Those all impact our world today. So you should have drawn that connection out, although you've done it kind of indirectly rather than blatantly saying like this is how our world was changed today. So that's how you do a conclusion. Again, thesis, restate your main points and main ideas, and end your essay. You don't have to keep going. You don't have to try and end it on some philosophical high note. Be sure to support your thesis. Don't try to contradict it. This isn't the essay for that. Keep it simple and end your paper. So by this point, you know how to craft your introduction. You know how to write your 3 body paragraphs. And now you've just completed your conclusion. So now all you have to do is upload your DBQ, get a great grade, and now relax and enjoy yourself. All right. If you have any questions on how to write a concluding paragraph, feel free to watch this video again, or you can post on Google Classroom or send a message via email.